quite a lot has happened since my last Vegas video, and let's go! Yeah!
Bro! He did it! We're on a freaking power play! Why are we not shooting? Yes! Let's go!
I can't even grammar properly right now. How frustrated I am.
We're gonna cheat tonight.
One, I had like 4 performances in the last month. I also pretty badly sprained my ankle playing volleyball. I went up for a block and stepped on someone's foot when I came down. And yeah, so I was on IR for a little bit. Needless to say, I was not overreacting before you say I'm overreacting, and here's why. Putting it all into context, the 7 games I covered the last 3, we lost to the Flyers. Vegas loses to Buffalo. Pittsburgh Penguins beat us. We're all road losses. We had 2 more games on that road trip. The first one was against Columbus, the second one was against Winnipeg, and Vegas showed up for one of those periods of those 6. First against Columbus, Cole Sillinger gets a hat trick. That's really, really cool. He's the youngest player in the league, and yeah, he looks like he's gonna be a stud. It wasn't terrible of a loss. Dadonov and Eichel got us back to 5-4, but then they get the empty netter, so you know, but we couldn't really complete the comeback. Chandler Stevenson said this after the game. From Jesse Granger, I'm sick of it. Everybody is sick of it. Everybody needs to dig deeper, grab their nuts and work. What a quote! Unfortunately, Riley Smith and Robin Leonard might have grabbed a little too hard because they were officially placed on IR the next day, and you know, fun. That means that we have another rookie making his NHL debut for us this season. Brayden Pachal making his debut was also the first player to wear the number 94, so that's fun. Winnipeg Jets scored 7 goals. He was only a -1, so yay, good for him. This game was awful. This road trip was awful. This 0-5 road trip, and you'll see, has greatly been detrimental for us the entire rest of the season, because since this point, we have been doing nothing but sit outside the playoffs trying to get back in. From Jesse Granger, at this point, all signs point to Robin Leonard's latest injury being a significant one. It's very possible he misses the rest of the regular season. This season is straight from hell. I don't know what else to tell you. Oh my goodness, this is awful. Other signs that this season has been, you know, whatever. The highest plus minus on the team up to this point is Zach Whitecloud. Very next game, St. Patrick's Day. You know, I had to wear my green. I don't have any here. Well, it's great. Little teaser. Here's the teaser. I got a green jersey now. My son, I actually had him, I saw this jersey on the NHL shop for $2 and I was already making another order and free shipping, so might as well. Playing against Florida, who is arguably one of the best team in the league. Evgeny Dadonov understood the assignment, scores 2, and Vegas Golden Knights win 5-3 against the Florida Panthers. At the very end of the game, William Karlsson gets the empty netter, and I felt this huge sigh of relief upon myself, but I also think I saw it on William Karlsson because it's been a while since he scored a goal and it's an empty netter, but yeah, I mean, whatever. Right after Florida tied it in the 3rd period, Nick Waugh, his particular move with the whole little flip thing that just fools everyone. His shootout move he was able to pull off in regulation to get us back on the board 4-3 with the lead, and then the empty netter. And Logan Thompson played really, really well. He's shown that he's quite the asset, and the fact that we locked him up for the contract that we did with a little under $1 million per year for the next 3 seasons is really, really looking like it's gonna be good. However, in this game, Jack Eichel blocked a shot with his hand, and it did not look good. The pain that he was in already, he immediately went down to the dressing room. He would not return the rest of this game. Who do you think would win in a best of 7? Assuming everyone in these lineups is all of a sudden healthy for this series. The Vegas Golden Knights or the Vegas Broken Knights. For reference, injured, Eichel, Stone, Pacioretty, Smith, Martinez, McNabb, Haig, Hutton, Leonard. Healthy, Marchessault, Karlsson, Stevenson, Dadonov, Waugh, Janmark, Pietrangelo, Theodore, Whitecloud, Brassard, Thompson. Who do you think would win? Post it in the comments below. We signed Derek Pouliot to a NHL contract. He's been on the Henderson Silver Knights all season and finally signed him, but then we eventually had to send him down through waivers. And of course, he gets claimed by the Seattle Kraken, actually, who we're about to face twice moving forward. My Kings jersey has Martinez on it, 27, so that's fun. What is it with defensemen wearing the number 27? Because Petro wore that for the Blues, Martinez for the Kings, Theodore for the Knights. Speaking of Logan Thompson playing well, the Golden Knights win 5-1 against the Los Angeles Kings. It was Logan Thompson's best game he's ever played for the Golden Knights, and that's, you know, yay. Dadonov gets another one. That's 3 goals in 2 games. Goes out, you know, scores for us. We desperately needed that, and has been upping his trade value because, hey, this is the last game before the trade deadline. Trade deadline should be a holiday that nothing at all else happens on this day, because I was so distracted in school and there were games played after the trade deadline. That makes no sense. Are you kidding me? You have all these guys that have no movement clauses, no trade clauses, whatever, sitting around, you know, not feeling like who knows if they're gonna get moved or not, and then all of a sudden they have to play a game right after that? That's ridiculous. We're playing the Minnesota Wild, so what? No. I know he technically didn't wear this jersey, he wasn't on the team yet, but they were having a sale on Cool Hockey for $139, which is cheaper than I'm going to find a Winter Classic, B, new Fleury jersey, so I figured might as well. If the Vegas Golden Knights get kicked out of the playoffs, I think my next team that I'm going to be cheering for on the West Coast is going to be Calgary, and then after that it's probably Minnesota because of Fleury now. Oh boy, that hurt to say. Very, very quiet from Vegas most of the day, and then the very last minute, the Golden Knights are trying to move on from Evgeny Dadonov, according to a source. This got in at the wire. Dadonov traded to the Ducks.
One eternity later.
Nothing. No details, nothing. We don't know what's going on with this trade. It's gonna be announced mid-Minnesota game. The details of the trade were John Moore, Ryan Kessler for Dadonov and a second-round pick from Vegas. Which means we're giving up a second on top of the fact that we gave up a third and Nick Holden for Evgeny Dadonov, which that third we acquired for giving up Nate Schmidt to Vancouver. So in reality, we gave up Nate Schmidt, Nick Holden, and a second round pick for most of a season of Evgeny Dadonov. Excellent, excellent asset management, guys. But there was lots of head scratching over this trade because on his 10-team no-trade list was the Anaheim Ducks. Vegas did not know about it. Neither did Anaheim or the NHL, because the trade lists are not verified through Central Registry, which going forward they kind of have to be now because of this specific mess. This is going to be the Dadonov clause in the NHL rulebook, where all the no trade lists clause, whatever, have to be through the Central Registry because this can happen again. Evgeny Dadonov gets traded from Ottawa to Vegas, and is somewhere there Vegas comes to believe that his no trade clause no longer exists. And league sources, according to Adam Strickland, in terms of where the finger should be pointed in the Evgeny Dadonov case, league sources say the blame rests on the shoulders of the Ottawa Senators, not Vegas. Sure, they could have done a little bit more due diligence, but if they already thought that they did, why would they do more? Also, if they had talked to Evgeny Dadonov's agent, even though they believed that they heard that this was voided or whatever, and that there was a problem with the no trade clause, they would still probably submit it, especially because it came down to the wire. So the trade went through, the NHL accepted it, which means that they also have just as much blame as the Golden Knights in this trade. And then they voided it, and so we still have Evgeny Dadonov. However, there were 2 games in limbo where none of that was confirmed, and so we didn't play him because why would we? Against the Minnesota Wild with Fleury on the bench. The very, very next day we played against Winnipeg again. And in back-to-back games, we got shut out by Cam Talbot and Connor Hellebuck. Minnesota 3-0 lose, boo. And Winnipeg 4-0 lose, boo. I don't really know what happened. They just could not get anything going. In fact, in the Minnesota game, it was 1-0 through the first 2 periods, and that was a win because, oh my goodness, not only how injured we are, but also just with literally all of this drama with Dadonov. Also, Jack Eichel was playing he didn't miss a game. He just missed the third period of that game against Florida. But our next game was against Nashville. This is the first game with Evgeny Dadonov back. Vegas Golden Knights win 6-1 against the Nashville Predators, but it did not come without the Vegas tax, which this season is an injury per game. Unfortunately, Brett Howden took this very, very nasty looking fall into the boards where his neck kind of like, it was not pretty. He had to be stretchered off the ice and it was very scary, but thankfully all of his vitals were good. He went to the hospital for further evaluation, but he was conscious and he was good. Vegas definitely came to, so did Dadonov. He scored 3 points, so yeah. Can you believe that we got a second round pick with Dadonov for 2 contracts that didn't even matter? Wow, what a trade. Good job, Golden Knights front office. Vegas firing on all cylinders and getting ready to face Chicago, which should be a win because they're the bottom of the league, you know, and we need to, you know, move forward and get back towards the playoffs. And this Nashville game was a very, very good one in helping us to get there. Nashville 6-1, yay. I need to remember this. Vegas, you wanna play? They're the bottom of the league. Guys, what are you doing? It's 3-0 going into the third against the Chicago. We're gonna lose against the Blackhawks? They don't even have Fleury this time. What are you doing? 3 goals in 2 minutes at 5-on-5 even strength. They come out of the third period and I want whatever they were selling during that intermission because oh my goodness, the ferocity that they had coming out of this period. Chandler Stevenson, William Karlsson, Jack Eichel all get goals, tying the game 3-3 in the first 3 minutes and 16 seconds of this game. Holy cow. This is the greatest Vegas Golden Knight comeback in their history. And then DeBrincat scores. Alex Pietrangelo buries it. 4-4. There was 10 minutes left in the third period, but you know, that was just high intensity, you know, figuring it out. And then we go to overtime and who else other than Evgeny Dadonov from Wa absolutely just walking around, hit the offensive zone, waiting for this play. He backs it to Dadonov, who flings it on net, absolutely snipes it past Lankinen, who slams his stick across the bar, breaking it in half. What a game, what a comeback. This team definitely wants to make the playoffs, right? The Vegas Golden Knights win 5-4 against the Chicago Blackhawks and then 3-0 against the Seattle Kraken. Logan Thompson looking like an absolute stud muffin. Did I just say stud? Vegas Golden Knights win 3-0 against Seattle and Logan Thompson just what a beauty, gets his first NHL shutout and he did it while making really, really spectacular saves. There was 1 goal from Seattle, but it was offsides and so it didn't count and they reviewed it. Yep, nope, no goal. 3-0 against Seattle. Where have I seen that before? We got a close look at Eichel on the bench with his iPad and what is that? It looks to me like Eichel has a broken thumb, which means he's playing with a broken thumb that I think he got in that Florida game. If Vegas was really trying to circumvent the cap and Mark Stone wasn't actually injured, he would have probably come back and Eichel would have sat with his broken thumb to let that heal, you know, an LTIR whole thing. But yeah, no, people keep saying that Vegas is faking injuries when as I think they're using LTIR intelligently as they can because they're putting guys to LTIR. They put 3 in 1 day, which we'll get to. But they all were injured. Howden has been injured since Nashville. Carrier got injured. Brossoit has been injured and has only been good enough to back up when not start, which I disagree with. We had Logan Thompson and Yuri Patera as our 1-2, which shows to me that Brossoit is for sure injured because otherwise he wouldn't have been sitting out in those games, despite the fact that Logan Thompson was doing really, really well. That does not make any sense that you would have Yuri Patera just in case. Like, Pacioretty was still injured, and like, you had room in your cap. This is all stupid. People need to really, really be the most conspiracy theorist type people to believe that Vegas is not actually injured. Anyway, this last game against Seattle, Vegas Golden Knights win 5-2. Very helping their chances to get back into the playoffs after their percentage went down to like 30, which is the lowest it's ever been. Vegas Golden Knights history, other than, you know, that inaugural season. Jack Eichel gets 2. Shea Theodore has also stepped up his offensive game, producing a lot in this stretch of time. And William Karlsson, I think, also gets the empty netter. Yeah, solid game. But Logan Thompson absolutely having himself a really, really good time, and his agent, I'm undoubtedly would be asking for more money if his extension was trying to be talked up now. Now here's the real test against the Vancouver Canucks, who let's just say are still technically in the hunt for the playoffs, although they're below us and we seem very, very out of it. But the Vegas Golden Knights win 3-2 in overtime against the Vancouver Canucks. We were up 2-0 in the first, Pietrangelo, Marchessault, good job. And then in the third period, still 2-0. Vancouver comes back to make it 2-2, and that, you know, is just great. Immediately to start this overtime, Shea Theodore falls down and allows Vancouver to have a wide open chance, but Robin Lehner, who's back, stops it. Good job, you know, that's fantastic. Theodore, like, what are you doing? But he redeems himself because a couple of minutes later, he's able to bury this chance on a 2-on-1 pass from Marchessault, past Demko, and, you know, Demko. Oh my goodness, Shea Theodore is the only one that can score on Demko, because we return back to Vegas for the next game against Vancouver Canucks, which the Vegas Golden Knights lose 5-1. And Vegas had the lead, which means they scored first. Jack Eichel, 1-0, beautiful, and then 5 straight from the Vancouver Canucks. Awful game, awful, awful, awful. But we go on to play Vancouver. No, we just played Vancouver. We go on to play Arizona, and what a way to play. Vegas Golden Knights win 6-1 against the Arizona Coyotes, and it was just really, really solid game from them overall, especially against the worst team in the league. Lecision gets his second of the year, Brayden McNabb gets his third, and Robin Lehner, really, really solid game from him overall. But that brings us to our third game against Vancouver in this stretch. Return of the captain, Mark Stone. He comes back because we placed Brossoit, Howden, and Carrier on LTIR, which freed up enough. Martinez, at some point, came back in this stretch of games, and this is the healthiest Vegas has looked. The fan said while having 6 regulars on LTIR still, but I mean, Mark Stone was able to play, and he didn't look all that comfortable, which I don't know if he's a good actor or whatever, but yeah, no, I think he's definitely still injured. Vegas loses to the Vancouver Canucks 5-4 in overtime though, so loser point, yeah. Vancouver, it was 1-1 going into the second, and then Vancouver gets 2, and then Vegas gets 1 back, and then Vancouver gets another, so it's 4-2 going into the third. And then Shea Theodore is Thatcher Demko's kryptonite, because he's the only one that can really score on him since the playoff bubble in 2020. Sorry for saying that year again, I know that's a trigger. He scores twice in the third period, including one in the last minute of the game with Robin Lehner pulled to tie the game 4-4 to push it into overtime, and it was fantastic. And then Vegas proceeds to do nothing in overtime that's at all productive. Jack Eichel kind of gets cross-checked in front of the net by Quinn Hughes, but it's Quinn Hughes against literally anyone. They're not going to call that. And then Quinn Hughes grabs it and scores past Lehner because Lehner was down on the ground. This game was not a good one from Robin Lehner, and I love Lehner. I think he's a really good goalie. But he's had a couple of games where he didn't really look his most comfortable, and this one was one of them. He allowed, I think, 4 goals on the first 16 shots, and that's just, 2 of them were a power play from Vancouver, and one of them was a breakaway. But he didn't look comfortable in any of those. Now we have 8 games left, and we technically can win out against Los Angeles to get into the playoffs, but we face Calgary and Washington and St. Louis, who are all playoff teams, and LA's schedule looks a lot easier than that the rest of the way forward. Thankfully, the Avalanche beat them 9-3 last night, but Vegas has to win against Calgary, Washington, or St. Louis. 2 of those 3. And then the other games that they have to win against non-playoff teams. They have to beat Dallas, they have to beat Edmonton. If they make the playoffs, then, you know, they might be able to do some damage. If they miss the playoffs, but they miss it barely, which it looks like that might be the case, then Buffalo will get our first round pick still. And so, you know, write it off as a weird year, the cursed year, the year that just came from the absolute depths of Hades. Anyway, I know that this was a longer nightly review. Thank you so much for watching. If you tuned in for all of this, there's a lot of games to cover. It was games 61 through 74. And that's going to be it for this nightly review. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go Knights go for these last 8 games and see what happens if we come out on top or not. Who knows? Oh yeah, have a good night.